Good day, everyone. I'm Captain Gaurav Rana from Sea and Beyond. Good day because I know there are people not only from India, but people from Europe, people from Singapore, people from Japan who have registered for this webinar, who have come in. A very warm welcome for the webinar. We've done a lot of webinars at Sea and Beyond, but there are very few webinars wherein there is a participation from the academia and from the industry. So it's a real pleasure to invite people from presenters from CMI, from the academia, from IIM Mumbai to join in and present in this webinar. It's a pleasure to welcome Captain MB Bhasin, who is the MD of MSC Crewing India and Chairman of CMMI, Captain SM Halbe, who is the CEO of MASA, has been in ship management for long, and who is the committee chairman for Executive MBA from CMMI side. Professor Khanapuri, Dr. Sumi Jha
Professor Khanapuri has joined.
He's joined. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Professor Khanapuri, who is the Dean of SRIC at IIM Mumbai. And of course, Mr. Rajiv Nair, who is the president of IMEI as well. So, thank you to all the presenters for taking out time to tell us more about this program. And let's move to the next slide, please, Smita. Okay, the reason of the webinar and what's our focus? A lot of times when we want to know about a certain program or about any particular profession, what happens is the first person we ask is our friend. The friend may know about that thing or he may not know. You may have an access to the brochure at the most. It's rare that a person can actually hear from the dean of a college directly or the chairman of a particular professional body. So through this webinar, what we are trying to do is help you speak, understand the thoughts of these illustrious professionals from the industry and academia so that your awareness is increased, you get consolidated information from credible sources, you can evaluate it whether it's relevant for you or not, and then take a well-informed decision. So that's the reason why we are doing this webinar. Do's and don'ts. If there is a question, you may submit it at the particular slide, but we will take the questions at the end itself. So we'll not break the flow of the speaker. Our focus is on you today, but if there is a very, very specific question, we can take it offline after the webinar. So if there's a question of XX years of sailing, this particular rank, I have done this much degree, what can I do, right? So then we will take generic questions, but very specific question, we'll take it at the offline as well. And we'll share the slides of the webinar with you as well. Let me take one more poll and then I will then I'll hand over to Captain Bhasin for the webinar. So the poll is, what is your rank? This is for all of us to know our experience. So are you sailing top 4? Are you sailing at an operations level? Have you been settled ashore after sailing, or you've never went to sea? So if we may have your answers to it. All right, we'll wait for another 5-10 seconds. Should have about 80% of you voting, please. Let me end the poll and share results. It's very rare that we have, almost same representation from different groups, but almost 30% from, top 4 sailing operations levels settled ashore, never went to sea, a little less, but that's the audience which we have. Right. That's pretty much it from my side. It's an honor to welcome Captain Bhasin on in this webinar. Captain Bhasin is, of course, the MD of MSC Crewing, and he is the chairman of CMI. And over to you, sir. If you could guide us, advise us on why CMI planned to start this program, and what's the aim of this program as well, sir. Over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Captain Gaurav. First of all, I would like to welcome each and every one of you who have joined us on this online webinar. Uh, the purpose has been stated by Gaurav, and I will just go into this particular program. The Company of Master Managers of India, CMMI, and the Indian Institute of Management, Mumbai, they came together for this much needed program on academia as per the feedback of the maritime industry that there is a need for trained professionals in this line. We all know maritime logistic industry is growing. Government is investing themselves like Gati Shakti program and various others. We also know more efficiency in maritime transport is required to reduce the cost, and hence private investments is coming in. And the major question, at an operational level, we still have some professionals, but management level, there's a gap. So that was basically a contest that I wanted to just start with. Now, what are the objective of this course? The objective of this courses are to enhance and give back to the industry. Foremost, provide trained professionals, collaborate with the best institute in the industry, and we have a premier institute, IIM Mumbai. Make a mark in professional development of the candidate, blend of maritime and management. That's the beauty of this course. Now, what does the course focus on? It focuses on logistics and supply chain management, which is the next revolution in international and domestic trade. It internationally by the course is by the internationally recognized and eminent faculty. It gives you the chance, exposure to interact with the finest and the brightest minds, excellent networking with fellow students who themselves will be the stalwarts of the industry. Now, this course is a gateway for the excellent career growth and is open to professionals from multiple maritime related industries. I will name few professionals from the maritime and associated fields, all exporters, importers, international traders, professionals working in ports, professionals from oil and gas industry, professionals from custom, all multimodal and logistic professionals, chartering companies, legal professions. These are just to name few. Given the strength of the Indian Institute of Management, IIM Mumbai, we are certain that this unparalleled course will prove to be a groundbreaker for the industry, and I reach out to each one of you. Please make use of this opportunity. We are very glad that my colleagues are here after me to speak, along with the Dean and the Professor from IIM Mumbai itself. I stop here now and we go with the flow now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank for your kind words and advising us on the objective of the course and why we started this course. It's a pleasure to have Professor Khanapuri as well in the presentation. Before I hand over the platform to him, let me take a poll from the audience. And this poll is doing an MBA aspirational to you? And does the college where you do the where you have the degree from, does it matter? So let's hear it. Let's understand what do you guys feel. And then I'll hand over to you, Professor Khanapuri. We wait for a few more answers to come in. All right. I'm ending the poll and I'm sharing the results. So yeah, I mean, you guys are here, so 84% of you MBA is aspirational, and almost for every one of you, the college, the brand of the college from where you get the degree matters. And that's the reason why the from the industry, CMMI, IMEI, they have partnered with the brand of IIM, and of course, one of the top ranked MBA colleges in India, who would conduct this course. And we've heard from Captain Bhasin on why, from the industry side, we wanted to do this course. Let's hear from the academia side, from Professor Khanapuri, on why they choose this particular industry, this particular shipping logistics industry to conduct this MBA course. Over to you, Professor Khanapuri. We move to the next slide, Smita.
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone, and I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you. I'm very happy to see that most of you have.
Hello.
And hello, am I audible?
Absolutely.
Gaurav?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm very happy to see the poll results in terms of one, the aspirational value, and how you attach importance to the institute where you graduate from. But let me get into the perspective of why institutes, the choice of the institute should make a difference to each one of you. Now, if I look at institutes in the country or globally, you have a plethora of institutions, but each institution has its own unique strength. And for IIM Mumbai, if I were to tell you, it's not that it is just established now or in the last few years. It's a 60-year-old institution which was established in 1963 along with two IIMs when they were established. One was Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and the other one was Indian Institute of Management, Kolkata. But when it was established, this institute, it was established as National Institute of Industrial Engineering. The purpose was to bring in the blend of the engineering and the management part of it. That was the time when we had a large focus on how do we bring in productivity, how do we ensure that the industry is able to achieve the desired levels of output, quality, productivity. And International Labour Organization and Government of India joined hands together and established this institution. Now, without getting into further details of where its roots are, I would like to emphasize here that this institute continues to build further on its very strong focus of applied orientation in terms of the industry. And that is where we built ourselves a niche in the area of operations and supply chain management, logistics and supply chain management. In fact, our institute is known as Mecca of supply chain. This is what the students say. But yes, the industry also recognizes it. And if you look at some of the well-known top industries, whether you talk of industries in aligned with e-commerce or looking at FMCG or logistics, you will invariably find a strong alum base or our own students working at the top positions in these organizations. Second, like what Gaurav also talked about and what Basin sir also talked about, yes, as an academic institute, we have a very strong focus on uh, getting the best rigor and the academic content. And this is led none other than our own director, Professor Manoj Tiwari, who is also recognized amongst the top 2% researchers in the world. We have our chairman, Mr. Shashikiran Shetty, who is also the chairman of one of the Indian MNCs, All Cargo Logistics. About the institute, we have got a good strength in terms of the programs what we offer, the kind of programs which we offer, which are very focused for a specific area. Like we have an master's in business administration earlier, what we call it as industrial engineering and management, MBA in operations and supply chain, MBA in general management, MBA in sustainability management. Now, we were the first institution which set up this course on industrial environment and safety. And today, we can proudly claim that even in this domain, we have a good strength where we are talking about how do we apply the concept of sustainability management across the different sectors, whether it is manufacturing, services, ports, logistics sector. We have also been focusing on very focused programs on manufacturing, but it's not just manufacturing. Our focus is on digital manufacturing. As you are all aware of how things are moving now in terms of connectivity, the digital technologies, talking about Industry 4.0, all these technologies are being covered in terms of some of the very focused programs on visionary leadership for manufacturing. We are also running a program for armed service, defense services people who, after or when they are retiring, get an opportunity to go through a rigorous program, and this is called as Defense General Management Program. As an institute, we have a very strong standing, and that's how we have been recognized by the Ministry of Education as a nodal center of PM Gati Shakti for capacity building. We have also been working very closely with some of the international universities, professors from MIT, Kellogg, and other institutions in Europe, which where these faculty join us and share their experiences, global experiences with our participants. We also have a center of excellence in the logistics and supply chain management. Gaurav, can we move to the next slide, please?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Now, having said about what our institute is, where our strengths lie, also, I would like to emphasize here, how do we look at the sector? Just a brief mention before I talk about the eligibility criteria. The reason here is India is moving very fast. You must be aware of how we are one of the fastest growing economies. We are already moving to a 5 trillion economy. And I'm sure one of the key factors which will play a role is how logistics and more so maritime, which is an important element in the entire structure, can play a very important role in contributing to this. Thus, when we started exploring, we try to figure out what are the strengths which we can bring in for this particular sector. And we figured out we had a lot of interactions with CMMI, and we finally decided to go ahead to design this program with strengths, leveraging the strengths of each institutions to ensure that we bring in the right kind of competencies, the capabilities, the skills to the industry at large. Now, this is precisely where you, as a participant or the program candidate, you will find it interesting because we are not restricting it to just the mariners as such, but we have ensured that we will have both the criterias, which are eligibility criteria for both non-mariners as well as mariners, which has been mentioned here. The idea is to have you come with some experience and leverage the engineering, the management, and the technical part to the maritime management, the logistics, and the supply chain at large, and be a part of that entire value chain. I'm sure most of you would be interested to reposition yourself either once you decide to go back to the mainstream industry after you finish your careers, your goals in the industry wherever you're working. When we say that we are setting up this course in collaboration, we are not trying to just run a program, but yes, we want to ensure that we get the right kind of people who are seriously interested. I am very happy to see both the poll results, and most of you are very keen to pursue this program, which is having a very high aspirational value. And when you come to these kind of programs, you also need to understand the kind of rigor the course, the program will have, and hence to ensure that we, as well as you, are at the right place. We have an entrance test, a quick assessment of your verbal ability, reading comprehension, data interpretation, and logical reasoning, along with the quantitative ability. This is to help you to ensure that you quickly brush up yourself with the basic requirements, and then you are able to move ahead. We also have some small section on general knowledge and current affairs. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, once you go through this process of selection and the interview, we will be having the actual conduct of the program. And this program will have about 19 management courses, 11 maritime courses, a total of 30 courses. Plus, this is very critical because you are all exposed industry working professionals. So it is how you apply these concepts, whatever you have learned, to the context. And that's where opportunities to work on internships becomes very critical, where your experiential learning gets reinforced. We also have opportunities for global online courses where faculty from international universities, global universities, will be taking some courses, and you get an opportunity to learn from one of the most renowned professors across the world. We also have a concept of capstone project as a part of this program. The curriculum is very much industry driven, and it is very nicely made adaptable and tailored to meet the unique demands of the maritime industry, the logistics, and the supply chain sectors, so that when you complete this MBA in maritime management, logistics, and supply chain, it will definitely help you to align yourself to the area of interest and your competencies and reposition yourself in that sector. The course, the programs, the classes will be quite adaptable, flexible for you to attend these courses, typically on weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. It will have a component of both online and offline, which can help you, to have both an interaction with the faculty in person, discuss with the faculty whenever you come through the offline mode. Most of the faculty and the industry experts from the CMMI will all have their own unique strengths of working in the industry, or if they're working in the academy, their strengths will come from the training, consulting, and the applied research which they have carried out. They will also be sharing their knowledge in terms of caselets, actual case studies, lot of participative discussions, which will help you to understand the concepts better and see the relevance and application of these courses in the industry. And most importantly, this entire program has been designed aligned with the national education policy. Can we go to the next? Yeah. Just a quick summary of how this entire structure works. We have the concepts in the academic world as credit framework. We have about 42 core credits. When I say core credits, which is essentially the management related subjects across the different functions. This is very important for you to understand here, because when we talk about any management, we are not talking about just a specific function. We are going to give you a rounded personality of giving you perspectives on different aspects of management with about 18 credits, which is 180 hours of content through your maritime courses. We also have brought in the concept of electives. The idea is to help you build further in the area of your own choice, interest, and expertise. And that is where you got 15 credits through your electives, which are more from maritime electives. Then we have got projects. We have got maritime as well as general projects, global online courses, which is about 105 credits, which have to be earned by each of you to complete this program. While this course will have the blend of both the maritime as well as the academic, including the core and the maritime courses, you as a participant, as an individual, will have the opportunity to bring in your learning to the program, which will also help other participants to learn. This is how this program has been designed. I believe more about the entire program and other details will be shared by my other co-participants from the CMMI. Thank you. Gaurav?
Yep. Thank you, Professor Ghanapuri. I think You gave a good perspective on why IIM Mumbai partnered and went into this particular area, the pedagogy, the course content at a high level, the academic structure is what you have given an information about. Thank you so much for that, and you've explained it very comprehensively. Moving on, um, in most of the MBA courses around the world, I believe the maximum number of participants, if I'm not wrong, are engineers. And with that in mind, and bringing it to a more maritime perspective, we have the chairman of Institute of Marine Engineers, Mr. Rajiv Nayyar, with us, and who would give us a perspective on the continuous learning, how this course is beneficial, and how basically with continuous learning a person could progress and reach to the echelons of the professional career. So over to you, Mr. Nayyar, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav, and good day to everyone. Thank you for giving an opportunity for me to share my views as what I see, why, as I said, this is a higher learning opportunity, but still retains its linkage to maritime. I think Professor Khanapuri had referred to Industrial Revolution 4. If you ask me today, in maritime, what I am seeing is a huge impact, not only of that, and another aspect also, which is the climate change impact happening. Industrial Revolution 4, the speed at which data, the amount of data, the tools which it is giving because of the speed of communication, the human-machine interface, all those are giving unimaginable tools. At the same time, we are being forced today because of the various energy demand we have, the climate impact we are doing is to start looking at new technologies. And what I see is that speed of coming of the new technologies, along with development of new tools, is taking place at a very, very fast pace. So what that is putting a pressure on us as professionals to be fully relevant and adapt to these changes in a very fast methodology. If we do not really adapt, I don't think we would see times where we could say that you could spend couple of decades in a profession without upskilling yourself. You have to be relevant in that profession, to give value back to that profession, and in that sense, to keep yourself at a valuable position, keep upskilling yourself. And that is where I see opportunity of attending such programs, which would help channelize such tools into our understanding along with our core competencies and make value for oneself as well as for the industry one is serving in that way. And I would rather say that it may not even remain limited to that industry. With a core background, a technical background, a hands-on approach, with further tools like this, if you are able to develop, you may be somebody across industries who would be in demand, because it would not only be purely shipping maritime, but it would be the logistics sector. And believe me, I am seeing this necessity of bringing about an efficiency in trade, in transportation overall. Because the more efficient one becomes, the lesser would be our, in a way, energy dependence. Or if you want to put it in another way, energy utilization for maximum optimized transportation needs. And people are looking for professionals who are able to do that. So these are some of the tools which I would look forward for such a program to be giving in to us as professionals. And right from what I see as how they look at you entering through the examination, which looks at analytical, etc., it would help develop that competence besides the core competence of being able to efficiently increase your competence in these areas. And that is the value I see in such a course. And that would be my input to this, people who are trying to gather information on this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nair. That was very helpful to get an overview on how industry is changing, what are the new things which are coming through, and how a person could upskill. Now, private players are companies always take this opportunity when an industry is growing to come into this field and grow. We also have Captain Halbe with us. Captain Halbe is the committee chairman of Executive MBA from CMMI side, and he's also the CEO of MASA. If you could advise us, Captain Halbe, on what government has done, right? Because if things are driven from the government side, private players automatically catch up to it, and the industry as a whole grows. So if you could give us that perspective as well, and also advise us on the application process going forward, please. Over to you, Captain Halbe.
Thank you very much, Gaurav. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Smita, if you can move to the next slide.
Thank you very much, Gaurav. Good afternoon or good day to everyone. Thank you for attending. This is indeed a landmark project for the company of Master Mariners to cooperate with the Indian Institute of Management and embark on this project. The government in particular has recognized the need to play the role of a facilitator, because there has been talk that should the government be in business or should it facilitate business? And this is one of the classic cases where the government actually created what is known as the PM Gati Shakti Master Plan. This focuses on the fixed infrastructure and network planning. And aligned with that, they created a national logistics policy, which, as you can see on the slide, has got hard targets and soft targets. So what they have done is we fall under the process reforms and human resource development and planning. And they have also changed the national education policy to allow us to develop the program in a credit-based fashion. So, people who have done, this is a different subject altogether, but this allows us to align with that. And under this head is how we have managed to set up this particular course. Of course, the expertise and knowledge of IIM was the strength behind the development, while we brought in the maritime angle. And I think this is probably the first time where core maritime professionals have partnered with core management education institute of higher learning to develop such a course. Professor Khanapuri mentioned that we have got core maritime subjects and core management subjects. So I will just, and then there are electives, which the students will be required to take 5 electives out of the 12 on offer. Can we have the next slide? The next slide actually shows what are the electives we have proposed. The electives that have been proposed are again permitting the students to get a wide exposure to subjects from the experts. And these are the ones which we identified as critical to the maritime world, I must say. I will not read out, they are here, and as Gaurav has suggested, that we will be sharing this with the participants, isn't it? So I will not repeat that. I will then quickly run you through the process of admission. Can we have the next slide? The details of the program are given on this website, IIM Mumbai. As you can see, you can even go to the Company of Master Mariners website and it will lead you to the same link and you will get the details. When you click on admissions, you will find that we have, can we do that here, Gaurav? Or it's not? Okay. When you go click on the admissions tab, you will get a registration form. And once you fill up the form, you will be notified of when the online examination is there. The examination this time, the examination this time will be an internal examination which will be conducted by the Indian Institute of Management. From next year, it will follow their pattern of SAT and GMAT, which is the norm in management. I think that is about it for the basics of the program at the moment. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you so much, sir. And having an overview about the application process and how government is supporting this particular industry really helps. Now, we've talked about the curriculum, we have talked about why we have developed the course, we have talked about how to apply. Now comes and something which a lot of participants, a lot of prospective applicants would like to know. One of the most critical things is jobs. Where would they get the jobs? How can they get the jobs? And I'm probably putting you on a spot, Captain Basim, but if you could advise just any prospects on the job front, please, for the prospective candidates.
Thank you, Gaurav. Actually, when I gave my talk, I said this course was developed after the feedback from the industry. There is a great need of professionals for such enhancement of their skill. And I'm very glad to state that we recently met Samsara Shipping, Mr. Mukesh Oja. He has sent us a written letter stating he will be more than willing to employ people who will do such prestigious course. And there's a great need of that. Apart from that, MSc, I come from MSc. We have spoken to our commercial. They are very keen. In fact, they are not only keen to employ more people, they are looking at how they can look into this course for further development. And I'm sure we also have Captain Gill with us. He will also talk with this thing. But let me assure the people from the middle management or in the mid sector, this is the course. Very carefully calculated, carefully stipulated in all the format. Professor Khanapuri and Captain Halbe have spoken about it. I think please have a look at it and not to miss out this golden opportunity. That's from my side, Gaurav.
Thank you, sir. That's very reassuring. The course can only take 30 candidates, and you're mentioning Samsara, you've mentioned MSc, and we've got Captain J.S. Gill on the line as well, who's heading Express Feeder in India. And sir, if we may know your thoughts about the course, any gaps which you see, would you like to pick up participants from this course as well, sir?
Hello, good evening, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, I must thank CMMI for inviting me to this forum. And it's wonderful. And it's also quite knowledgeable for us because most of the challenges or the decisions that any of the candidates would like to know is that what is the use of doing this course? Especially if you're a mariner and even if you are already in a shipping business. This doubt comes into the mind that if I do this course, which is actually for 2 years, does it bring any value to my own personality, into my knowledge? And what is the job scope for me going forward? Now, let me tell you that today, whenever any vacancy comes up, first and foremost, shipping business or shipping knowledge is not taught in any institute, in the colleges, in any forum. There are small bits and pieces, but not really. So there's a very, very strong need for new employees who have some basic knowledge and management skills to come into this industry. And why? The India is an emerging market, and maritime and logistics business is slated to grow maybe 20 to 30% in near future. More and more foreign investments are coming. Ports are growing, terminals are growing, and today we have at least 6 or 7 private operators in the port infrastructure and terminals. So going forward, there will be larger requirement of skilled people having good knowledge. And looking at the contents of the course as presented by Professor Khanpuri, it seems the course is very ideal for this industry. If I tell you today, India is changing very fast, and the current crisis, which now continues in the Gulf and in the Red Sea and in the region, has developed into India into a larger transshipment market and into a larger logistics market. Going forward, a lot of foreign companies are now coming into India, into the liner trade. And if I go by my own experience, in last 6 months, I must have seen at least 10 foreign companies coming into liner business into India and going either into a JV company or into a 100% owned subsidiary. So my submission over here is this, that this is going to grow further. Larger business is going to come into India, especially in this field. More than anything else, the systems are coming in. Human intervention is gradually being taken over by the systems. And we need more people in the industry who are system adaptive, who know more about the systems, who have more management skills, which will enhance the shipping business, which is slated to go tenfold in India in the coming next 10 years. So for anybody who's got any doubts whether they should take over this course or would it enhance their capability and their personality, I would straight away say yes. So my best of luck to anybody who's even thinking of taking this course, and I'm sure it will escalate your own personality and bring you into the shipping business, into the industry with a much larger knowledge and much more job opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain Gill. Really, I mean, these are the sentiments which I've also heard from almost everyone whom I've talked to. All the presenters also kind of echoed the same sentiments. India is growing, more companies are coming, more verticals are getting set up. They need trained professionals. We need senior management people and people who have not only practical skills, but also equipped with the theoretical part of it so that they can actually take good professional decisions. And thank you for advising us on this. Now, to everyone, you may write your questions in the chat window and I'll moderate the session. I'll take the questions. But having the benefit of being the host, I'll take the first question myself. And this question is to you, Captain Halbe. Now, we've heard about industry. We've heard from academia. Just one thing over there, sir. Most of this is from India, right? CMI, India, IIM Mumbai. Do we have some international flavor in terms of people who are going to teach and not just shipping, maybe commercial shipping flavor? So if you could advise on the professors, if there's any international flavor as well, sir.
Good question. Thank you, Gaurav. What we have done is learned from the best, which is IIM Mumbai. And we have reached out all over to get the best in the business for this. For example, we have one of our lead faculties, as we call them, is going to be Mr. Jagmeet Makkar, who is an expert marine expert from Hong Kong. So he will be one of the lead experts. Similarly, we have Mr. Krishnan Subramaniam, who is the Vice President ICS based in Dubai. He will be there. We have Professor Pratik Yadav, who is a visiting professor at MIT in US. He will be there. So there are going to be people like that who will have. Moreover, we will also have some experts in the business who will come as a guest faculty and share their experiences and knowledge with the students, and they will be one of a kind, we can assure you that.
Right, sir. Just wondering what else could a candidate want. You've got one of the best. You've got one of the best institute. You've got professional bodies associated. You've got international flavor. You've got companies who are committing to taking up people. So great. I mean, this is a whole package. I see a few questions on the chat window, and some of them are actually answered by Captain Pankaj, but still maybe someone has not seen the chat. So I'll pick up a few questions and ask the relevant presenters over here. Now, knowing about this course, there would, of course, be a question on how difficult is the entrance exam and how can we prepare, how can the prospective candidates prepare for it. So, Professor Jha or Professor Khanapuri, if you are there, if you could advise on the entrance test and how could a person prepare, please?
Professor Khanapuri.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to unmute my mic. Just to give you a quick idea of any entrance exam. Any entrance exam is primarily to check few quick, it's like a quick dipstick kind of thing, just to know how good you are in the quantitative part, how good you are in the logical reasoning. And probably a good reference would be see how a typical common admission test or CAT exam or GMAT exam questions are, and that will give you an idea of how you can prepare yourself for this test or the entrance exam. While we are saying this, that this will be on similar lines, the whole purpose is to ensure that the way the course will run through, especially if I'm going to talk about something on statistics, so there should be a good understanding of a little bit of quantitative abilities. If I'm talking of, let's say, something to do with how things work, the way they're working, some good amount of logical reasoning. So the whole idea is to bring you on that common platform, check how this test could be, helping you to prepare yourself for the courses which you're going to run through. So in terms of difficulty level, if you were to ask me, it's not going to be difficult, but I will say that you will have to equip yourself with at least a good amount of understanding on the basic way of how these exams are conducted. I hope I have answered the question, Gaurav.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. There have been a few questions on the dates, and there have been about 4 or 5 questions, but let me just present the dates of application and when the course starts. I hope you can see my screen. Yeah. All right. So the last date of application submission is 16th of June. So you've got about 20 odd days remaining now. The date of admission test, first admission test. So there are going to be 2 admission tests. The first is 20th June 2024. Second admission test is 6th July 2024. You will then have an interview The date of the interview is 13th of July. It could be an online or an offline interview. It's still to be decided as far as I know. The results will be declared on 20th of July. Payment has to be made between 21st July to 1st of August, and that's an initial amount of 10 lakhs. Date of commencement of program is 2nd August 2024. The classes start a day later, and the person has to pay, the student has to pay the second installment of 5 lakhs between 20th March to 30th March 2025. So there were a lot of questions which were there around the application timelines and the course timelines. I've shared it with you. We will also share it over an email to all the people who have registered for it. So I think that answers a few of the questions. Now, let me come back to Captain Halve. And one of the questions which has been asked and which was asked in the last webinar also was about the collaboration with Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers. Now, if a person is doing this program, can the person get any kind of exemption from the certification of ICS, please, and how it's progressing? Over to you, sir.
Yes, good question. There are certain topics which are of there is a commonality in the topics between when you appear for the MICS examination and this one. So we will, once we establish this program, we will certainly liaise with Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers to see how best we can get exemption in the subjects which are common, where we may need to share the grades. Just for the benefit of listeners, if you are holding say a certificate of competency as a master mariner, then there are already some subjects which you are exempted from in appearing for your MICS. So that exemption you will get, but we will see if we can get something more if possible. We will do that. But let this course get established first. Then we can go and do this together.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you, and thanks to understand the kind of initiatives which you guys are taking to ensure that this is acknowledged, accredited by different other industry bodies as well. Also, just one quick clarification to all the participants that there will only be one entrance exam. That entrance exam is taken on 2 different dates, right? It is on 20th of July, 20th of June and 6th of July. It'll be only one entrance exam, but a person can take that entrance on either of these 2 days or on both the dates as well. So that's the flexibility which we have. Okay, and also we've got a lot of participants, I guess about 50 to 70 odd people who have already registered, and yeah, so there are about 30 odd seats which we have. We already have a lot of people who have already registered as well. Okay, let's go to the next question now. And again, Captain Halbe, I think this is a question which we've got a lot of times from various people, and I guess Captain Pankaj has answered it in the chat window, but just for another clarification, if a person is a sailing master or a mariner who's got 3 years, 5 years, say, work experience, but they do not have a degree, right? But they are they could be second mate, they could be engineer. This could be a marine engineer, but without an engineering degree or a master. Can they appear for this particular course? And if so, how?
So the basic. Thank you, Gaurav, for that question. The basic requirement for educational qualification requirement for this course is a degree That is a basic requirement. Master mariners or mariners who may not have a degree, the DG Shipping issued a circular about a year ago where they All India, the All India Association of Universities, they have issued a guideline that anybody with a second mate certificate of competency can qualify as an equivalent degree, but that they need to obtain from a university. Before this clarification came, University of Mumbai was already issuing a equivalent certificate for master mariners, and they will continue to do so. So that facility is there. I am not yet 100% sure about the engineers without a degree. Mind you, the marine engineers got a degree way before we actually got, when they moved into that domain in the 70s. I think early 80s, Mr. Nair, if I'm not mistaken, DMET started giving a degree.
83.
83. So they have been way ahead of us.
Of that, yeah.
So we rarely see actually any engineer without a degree anymore. Very rarely.
Absolutely, sir. Now, thanks for the clarification.
Sir, I have a question on this. Actually, yeah, whoever have an Indian COC can go for this degree, equivalent certificate from Indian Association. But those who do not have Indian COC are like some are from Singapore or UK COC. For them, is it any alternate?
To you, Captain Albe, is there, if a person has a Singapore COC?
I get that. So suppose somebody holds a Singapore certificate of competency or a British certificate of competency. Unfortunately, a degree is a must. Even if he holds a foreign degree, if it is a recognized degree, then yes, they can participate in this course.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Next question is to Professor Khanapuri. Professor Khanapuri, what would be the minimum attendance which you would expect for a person in the online and offline mode? And so that's the first part of the question. And once you answer it, I'll probably have a follow-up question for you.
Yeah. The attendance requirements are quite, I'll say, to take care of some of those exigencies, but the minimum is 75%.
All right. For both online and offline?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Okay. Now, sir, there's a question from Gaurav, my namesake, who's asking about the details of offline sessions. There have been some changes, and let me tell you my understanding of the offline sessions right now. Because there have been a few changes, but what I understand is that now the offline sessions will happen once in 2025 and once in 2026 between January and February. And they'll be for 6 weeks. A person needs to be at the campus for 6 weeks in January, February 2025 and January, February 2026 for the offline session. So is my understanding correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
And to add to Gaurav, just to add to you, Professor Khanapuri, being the dean, has promised that the students will wish that there were more than 24 hours in a day when they attend those offline part for 6 weeks at IIM.
I wouldn't.
They will enjoy it. I can assure you that when they go through these sessions in person, they will thoroughly enjoy these things because one is the atmosphere in which you actually get these sessions conducted. You have a one-on-one interaction with the faculty. You've got an excellent library. You've got an opportunity to visit our computer center with a lot of opportunities to explore some of the softwares and all those things. So that makes their learning more comprehensive. More than that, when you meet each one of us, in person. The peer learning is phenomenal. In fact, we did start with having online interactions, and I'm sure Bhasin sir as well as Halbeji will agree with me. The maximum value addition happened only when we have had in-person interaction. Right now, I'm sitting in US. Some of you are in different parts of the world, but believe me, that energy which actually gets moved across is phenomenal when we meet in person. Online is good to an extent, it will help us to do the basic transactions, but the real transformation, I'm saying two things, transaction and transformation. Transformation happens when you meet in person. So this mode always gives you a distinct advantage.
Right, sir.
I hope Basim Saab agrees with me.
Surely, sir. Rather, we have been, while creating the course, we have been emphasizing on this aspect. And we have done this post-graduation courses, MBA courses. The best part was always the personal interaction with the professors, with the peers, students, and it's a different scene altogether.
Agree.
And another question. Well, we have talked about placement. We've got companies who have also confirmed their interest in the placement. I see 2-3 questions from different people. There's one from Ronak, there's one from Pankaj on the placement. Now, if we refer to a similar other program, which probably would have conducted in another industry, if you could guide us on how typically the placement, if at all, there's any assistance is provided, how it typically happens, sir. If you may know your views, please.
See, as an institute, when we look at, we don't look at it as placement at all. We call it as career development. Okay. So that is the first thing which I want all of you to understand here. We take up these courses, advanced level courses, come to these institutions, all for one simple reason is how do I equip myself? How do I look at my career path or career trajectory? And that is why we strongly believe in these things. That yes, career development support, whatever best can be provided through our system will be extended. But I'm sure CMMI has taken up this responsibility to ensure that each one of you will be supported to the best possible extent. Being in the industry, being connected with the who's and who in the maritime industry. So definitely they will be helping you to a large extent. But from our side, we extend all that support which is required to position yourself to the next levels in your own career growth or career trajectory.
Thanks a lot, sir. Next question is to Captain Halbe. Sir, now this is for people who probably would go on board in between. Now, can they attend the classes, at least the online ones, on board? And if they want a break in between, so for example, if they want a 1-year break, is there that possibility which they could get?
Thank you. Good question, Gaurav. I'll answer the second part first. The requirement of this course is that the course needs to be completed in 3 years. So they do year 1. If they wish, they can take a break in year 2. They want to go sailing, that's fine. And then they must come back in year 3 and complete the course. So there is a 3-year window period within which they must complete this. That's one. Secondly, whether they can do it when they are on board, this all depends on their trading pattern. It depends on the internet connectivity that they have. So it will not be easy for me to answer because as far as we are concerned, it's an online part. Weekends and some weekdays, they will have some guest lectures or classes maybe. So it's entirely up to them how they manage that part. Because once you're online, whether you are in Mumbai or in an oil field outside Mumbai, 80 kilometers off, it really doesn't matter. So that is something which they will have to ensure and manage. I hope it answers.
Absolutely, sir. Understood. Understood. I think Professor Khanapuri's remark on 24 hours or less has probably spooked a couple of participants. And the question is to you, Professor Khanapuri. Number one is on the examination pattern. Are there exams after every semester? And if so, how many are the maximum attempts that a person could possibly give, please?
Okay. I would not like to comment on the number of attempts at this stage, but let me give you a perspective. Okay. Most of these programs are on modules, which is typically 12 weeks of duration. Now, when I say this, it has been designed in such a way that you will have an opportunity to build on your learning on a continual basis. So it's not just like a typical college or an engineering course where at the end of the year you will be evaluated. No, it is a continuous evaluation. So which means you've got assignments, you've got quizzes, you've got an opportunity to make your presentations as we go along. So there'll be a continuous evaluation followed by an end of the module and examination. Now, if you have been sincere, if you have been actively engaged in these courses, you already cleared it. However, if you want to excel further, so you have to demonstrate it. And that is only through a final assessment, which will be through an exam. In either case, whenever you find that you are not able to clear it, of course, there'll be a second attempt which will be offered. Of course, there are certain conditions as far as the PGP rules or the academic rules are concerned. You have to fulfill those conditions. And the first condition is basically you should have adequate attendance. And if you've got adequate attendance, you get the second opportunity to clear the final exams, which is at the end of the module, which is typically 3.5 months duration. Does that answer all the questions?
It does, sir. It does. Thank you. The question on the entrance exam, and again to you, sir. Can a person would it be an online test, and can the person give it from anywhere in the world?
I think Captain Basin and Albeji, I think we have decided to go with online only, right?
Yes, sir. We have actually requested you, and we are gracefully accepted that it will be an online test for the entrance.
Yes. Yeah. I think we can write it in that information that it will be an online test, but the timings will be given accordingly. The people will have to adjust their schedule and write the exam at that hour in whichever part of the world they are.
Noted, sir. Noted. Now, once a person enrolls, and this is a question from Captain Amandeep Singh Sethi, when a person enrolls and they are doing online classes, but in some cases, maybe a person is not available, would the recording of online classes be shared with the participants?
Let me put it like this. By default, the approach is not to encourage participants through attending a session in what I call it as asynchronous mode, going through attending the sessions, which we have been doing now. We have been conducting some certification programs. What we have identified is, with the assumption that the recorded session is available, people tend to miss out on the continuity of the topics. So this is what I would like to build a perspective. Okay. Now we have got learning management systems, which will be having certain amount of content, which will be having the opportunity for them to go through it. But the more you do it in asynchronous way, which means we have conducted the session, there's some amount of content available there, you are not able to engage yourself during the kind of content assimilation happens during a synchronous session is much higher than an asynchronous mode. Now, because these are all very rigorous courses, it's always better. Okay, that's why that's 25% of opportunity is given for you to accommodate yourself. But once you decide to take up these kind of programs, I think you should mark your calendars, schedule it. Now, that is the kind of a simple commitment we are expecting is in terms of your time. Be sincere in terms of attending these courses. 25%, yes, it's okay. Once in a while, you might miss it. But if you make everything saying that, yes, do I get recorded sessions? I can do it. You will miss the continuity of the topics. I'll give you a simple example. Let's say I'm teaching a course on project management. Now I teach a concept on what I call it as how do I use the 3-time estimates. Now that is done. You missed the session. You attended it through some recorded session, but you don't get most of your doubts clarified. Now, simple things could be, why would there be a unimodal or a bimodal? It will not explain everything in that slides or the presentations which are there. Because each one of you will have your own way of assimilating the things. And that is why I personally feel that you should try to make yourself available as much as possible. And the continuity part, which I was talking about earlier, you will miss the continuity. Because if you miss 3 sessions, I would have already gone to a stage where I'm talking about simulation. Now, moment I talk about simulation, you don't know why you're using a unimodal distribution, why I'm using a beta distribution, or why I'm using a triangular distribution. And suddenly I start using them there. You'll keep wondering what is happening here. Okay. So my request to all of you is, since you've all taken that interest to participate. Now, these are about quant-based courses. There'll be some courses which will have a little bit of, I'll say, less amount of quantitative, more about the assimilation of knowledge and application of knowledge, which you can do it. But considering the blend of quant as well as qualitative courses, it's always recommended that you attend most of these courses as far as possible.
Noted, sir. Understood. I'll come back to you, but I have a question from Captain for Captain Halbe, and this is from I think about 3 ETOs have asked this question. Well, we have probably be a little bit more specific on the deck side people, or maybe for the engineers, and they've essentially asked that, I mean, what's the progression for an ETO? Would it be any different from what it could be for a marine engineer or a deck officer? So your thoughts on this, please, sir?
Firstly, I'm assuming that as a ETO, he already holds a degree, because, degree is a must. So, but as far as I know, the recent entrants have actually come with a degree. So it could very well likely be that they hold a degree. See, once you hold a degree and you meet the C-time or other qualification criteria and you do the course, you are in the same boat as everybody else. And I think the opportunity for you is no different than that is there for any other person who has done that course, whether it is mariner or a non-mariner. You are still in the maritime field. And even if you have sailed as an ETO, You know what happens on ships. You know how cargo is moved. You know all these things. You may not have attended to it personally, but you are part of the system. So I don't see any problem. Most welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Because each of these, each of them bring something to the table which other doesn't have. So I think they are unique in their own right, and they have an equal opportunity.
Absolutely, sir. Coming back to Professor Khanapuri, so there are two entrance exams. I mean, there's a person has to give only one entrance exam, but he can give twice. He or she can give the entrance exam twice. So if the person has to give the entrance exam twice, if that person wants to give it twice, does he have to make two payments, or just with one payment he can make? He can sit for both the exams?
I will let Captain Bhasin answer that question. It's got nothing to do with. We will give you an opportunity to write the exam. Okay. Now, whether it has to be paid twice, only once, I think I will let the CMMI look into that. How would they want it to be done? But yes, my simple way of reflecting on this is everybody has got an opportunity cost. It's as simple as this. Okay. So probably when you want to write exam twice, you have your own opportunity cost. Think on it. Do it the best the first time. However, if you're very, very particular, it's not like you're writing a joint entrance exam, JEE, where you have got lakhs of people, where you have to compete among lakhs of people. There's no competition here. Please note this. I'm making myself clear. There's no competition here. You are supposed to be making yourself equipped, readiness to go into a kind of program which requires these basic things. These are basically to check certain hygiene factors. Are you good at certain quantitative things? So get yourself prepared. Why do you need to write twice? That's my question to the person who has asked this question. Prepare yourself, get yourself ready, answer it. However, if you still insist that you want to write the answer, I will let Captain Bhasin to answer whether he wants to make the second payment. Go ahead, make the second payment. That's not an issue.
Thank you very much, Professor Khanapuri, sir. You have explained it in a very academic way, I will put it. I will just tell the audience, we had gone to IIM and we only had requested, please allow us the 2 attempts. We only went to them. And you see, we did the feedback. We spoke to many students, many people working in companies. And then it came down, okay, as spoken by Professor Khanapuri, sir, you give your best attempt. You give your best attempt. But they were giving you opportunity to give a second attempt. As hardly any money. But they have to pay for it.
Absolutely. And I think the second attempt was mainly because a person may not be available on one particular date. So that
was also one thing. Yeah, that was also one thing.
Right. So it's not that we are encouraging people to give probably the entrance test twice, but it's if you're not available on one day, then the other day you should be available. Yeah. Right, sir. And another question which is coming up, Professor Khanapuri, is it an objective type of question, entrance exam, or a subjective type? And do you have any view on the time of the entrance exam? Any allocated time frame?
Yeah, I think these entrance, I will not call it as entrance. Let me, I don't know why we have called it as entrance. But anyway, since we have announced it as an entrance, let me continue that terminology. It is basically an assessment for you to evaluate yourself for your readiness to go through the rigorous courses. That's the only thing. Okay. Now, moment you say entrance exam, then you will say, okay, lakhs of people, hundreds of people, You have to be amongst the top 10, shortlisting. No, we are basically assessing or evaluating your readiness for going through the courses which are designed for building your career to the next level. Okay. Now, the second part, is it objective or subjective? Okay. Yes, it's going to be objective. But when we say subjective, the question will come, okay, how are you going to write? Are you going to type? And all those things. That is at a later stage, when you go through the courses, that question should come. At the entrance, it is 100% objective question.
Absolutely, sir. And rightly said that the level of, and this is what my understanding is, the level of teaching in such kind of courses may not be for everyone. So for you to understand, or for the college to understand that you're the right fitment at this particular time, that's the main reason for the entrance exam. It's not something to do with a cutoff. If everyone is scoring equally good marks, why not have everyone? Or of course, the top 30 probably then. Right, sir. I don't see any other question which has been left unanswered. Okay, I've got a question from Mr. KK Dwivedi. All right, and Captain Halbe, Captain Bhasin, I think this is for something for you to possibly look into. The query is whether for continuous 6 weeks, can that be broken down into 3 weeks each, especially for a person who is a working professional? That's the query from Mr. Dwivedi.
Yeah, Gaurav. Actually, this offline course was almost 3 months. And with the feedback of the industry, we have brought it down to about 6 weeks now, immersion, so that we understood people reached out to us that he would like to come one time and would not be able to do the 3 months at a stretch. So at this stage, it is about 5 to 6 weeks. We are saying 6 weeks as of now.
Noted, sir. Noted. Mr. Bhosle, the dates for offline classes will gonna be January, February 2025 and 2026. 6 weeks in January, February 25 and 26. Junaid, if you're joining in July, the next batch will probably be next year.
1 year.
Right, sir. Okay, I have a question from Nick. Question from Nick is, the eligibility criteria is for minimum 3 years, and this is to you, Captain Halbe. And I think I may reframe this question. Is this course fit for a person who has probably much more than 3 years of experience, someone who has maybe 20 years of experience? Do you think this will be a good fitment for that kind of experience as well?
You know, in the maritime sector, Gaurav, it is one of the unique sectors where people actually transfer from ship to shore at quite advanced stages. Okay, this is something, a dialogue when we had with IIM, they were having a little bit of a challenge understanding that, and they actually were suggesting that we should have an age cap when we allow people to come in, because the course is, at the end of the day, it's a management course by IIM. It's not supposed to be a walkthrough. It is supposed to be challenging and enjoyable at the same time. So while it is not uncommon for us to see a master with 15 years experience come ashore and be part of the management team as safety or commercial operations or whatever else that we have here. So is this possible for a person with 20 years experience to take this course? Yes. Why not? Yes. Because our profession allows you to move. So why should we restrict? Though there will be, let me also say very simply, but IIM will brook no quarters just because somebody comes with more experience. He will still have to undergo the same grind that everybody else undergoes. It's a course.
Right, sir. There is one query though from YKM wherein he's requesting whether there can be any leeway in terms of scholarships which can be given to people who have had good academics, good scores. Is that a possibility, Professor Khanapuri?
See, in terms of these kind of, I'll say, what I'll call it as scholarships and all those things.
Education grants.
Education grants. Most of these institutes are working on a self-supporting mode. Okay. It is not coming through any government or anything. Okay. It is like a simple, I'll say, I have got certain cost centers, I've got certain revenue centers, I need to match it, right? And in simple way, if I are not factored in my, I'll say, pricing, it may not be possible for us.
Maybe Captain Bhasin, you want to say something on this?
Yes, sir. I will see as such what Dr. Khanapuri said. I totally stand with him. Yes, we have been. That is actually basically for the ladies, females. We have approached the Director General of Shipping, sir, and he has told me if there is a female candidate, female seafarer, they will look into some part sponsorship. That they have told us. We are also in the process of reaching out to many companies. If they on their own can promote their own candidates to do the course by way of giving something. So that thing is going on side by side. That thing is going on. One more thing I must say here, that for the students, for the participant here, please understand that we have tied up with the premier institute, IIM Mumbai, and the alumni of IIM Mumbai. It's a big thing. And we have done a lot of groundwork for this. We are very grateful to IIM and the way they have cooperated with us, the way they have conceived this course for our own industry needs. It's going to be a big thing in the future. I can tell you that. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much. I guess this is now the final question coming up from Captain Amandeep. And Captain Halbe, you had mentioned earlier about a person who can extend from 2 years. The course can be completed in 3 years. Now, from Captain Amandeep, the question is the first year mandatory? So can a person enroll now and probably start in the second year? And the second part of the question is, can the person do, say, half part of 1 year and then carry forward that part to the next year as well? Or it's just that one entire year has to be skipped and then the second one taken? So your views, please, Captain Halbe.
Thank you for that. I think Captain Amandeep has drawn inspiration from the STCW, which has a functional approach. But unfortunately, it is an educational course, and we have to follow the IIM and the National Education Policy guidelines. So I am afraid this concept has not taken off, the one that you have suggested. So when you enroll now, you will have to do the first year, and then you can take a 1 year break, that's permitted, and then you come and do the second year. Again, it is a one-time attendance and doing the course.
So kindly allow me, pardon me, to pitch in. I think it has gone slightly maybe misinterpreted. The concern was that since it's a course designed for a 2-degree program, which can extend to a 3-year program, my concern was that if in case, if we are a sailing staff, like what we are understanding that we cannot miss the classes, in case, as has been mentioned, the offline classes are mandatory, anybody missing the Jan, Feb, any classes will have to can they be taken on the next year subsequently? Or it has to be done, as what I understand from you, is in one go, and then 1 year leave probably, and then go for the third year at a stretch. That's what I understand what you're saying, right?
We have, frankly, Captain Amandeep, we have not, when we set up the course with IIM, we did not do this much breakup, because remember, IIM itself on their own are their success is an established fact, the way they conduct their courses. To do any maneuvering was not practical at the time.
Very well, sir. I understand that. And the last query before I cut down is that I had requested for the recorded sessions. Why in that case? Because I understand there are not going to be any provided. That in case if we go for a short sailing, for just say for probably 3 months, and we miss out any one of the online classes, that in that case, maybe due to a busy port call or any non-routine emergencies at sea, we could always follow up in those subsequent 5 days before reaching the weekend. So my concern was that if somebody misses those any one day of the weekend classes, he can actually follow it on the weekday by a pre-recorded session. Intention is not to take the leeway and misuse it, but to be on track in case any unfortunate incident comes and we have to sail just for a short sail for 3 months. Intention was that, sir.
Let me put it like this, Captain Amandeep. Yes, your intentions to be actively engaged in what has happened is rightly taken. The recorded session, let us not put it like this. It is basically an opportunity given to catch up with what has happened, is what we will tell it, will be made available through the learning management system. Okay, whether it will be a fully recorded session, what will be there, how much of it will make sense or will not make sense, that will be put in capsules. Is that okay with you?
So very well, I do copy on that. Thank you very much.
And to put it on a lighter side, right? Of course, I think, sir, आप 5-star होटल में 7 course डिनर जब करते हैं, राइट, ये ऐसा है, these are 7 modules, राइट सर, एक के बाद एक के बाद एक, ऐसे आधे अधूरे हम लोग बीच में छोड़ेंगे तो स्वाद मजा नहीं आएगा आपको, राइट सर। और हम चाहते हैं कि आप पूरी तरह से इसका स्वाद चखिए और एंजॉय करिए इसको और अपने आप को संतुष्ट हो जाइए।
Sir, totally get that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very nicely put, Professor Kanapuri. Thank you so much. Let me take a couple of poll questions. And the first one is, how many of you are looking for enrolling? And those who are looking to enroll for this course, how many for this year, next year, or you're not sure? So you're not looking at any MBA course, you're looking at a course from IIM Mumbai. There's an alum status that you will get for IIM Mumbai. There are limited seats available, of course, but let's see how many of you are interested. You could be yes, no, or you need more time to think as well. And if so, which year? Look for at least 75-80% participation. We've got about 65% of you who have voted. Can we have a few more answers? All right. I'll end the poll. And yeah, I see about 66% of you who are looking to do this course and 62% of you within this year. And one final question on the feedback. You've got all of you had come to this webinar with some expectation, and were your expectations met? Was the session useful for you, and how would you rate this session? more specifically, if you would like any improvements in terms of conduct, in terms of any particular stuff which we missed, please feel free to write it down in the chat window as well, and we'll try and improve on that as well.
Gaurav, Professor Khanapuri has raised his hand.
Oh, yes, please, I didn't see it. Professor Khanapuri, please go ahead.
Yeah, a few questions which probably are relevant to the academic perspective point of view. I want now, who will all be the lecturers? What will be their background? Answering this question from the academic side, they will all be PhDs with minimum of 5 to 10 years experience, and none of them, I'll say, will be just passing out of the college and coming and talking to you. It will not work. We have got very senior professionals. I myself probably would be taking few sessions with 30 plus years of experience in the field of project management. So be assured that we understand your time is as valuable as our time, and we would want to give the maximum value during the time what you're going to spend here. Second, is this course affiliated by government? I think this seems to be a very misunderstood. See, you're coming to an institute of national importance under the Act of Parliament. We have been empowered to give you a degree. So this question should not come to your minds at all. I think probably there's some communication gap, which Captain Bhasin and Halbeji, please look into that. When you're going to an institute of, let's say, university affiliated, so you need to get those kind of things taken care. But here it is not the case. Here we have been empowered to award, and that's why this entire rigor of going through what courses, why these courses, why, because it is ultimately IIM Mumbai's name at stake. Okay, and the third question probably, what kind of degree we will be getting on completion of this 2-year course? Of course, this will be called as an Executive MBA, specialized in Maritime Management, Logistics, and Supply Chain. I think the communication team needs to put these things in bold so that people get a clear message, so that they know where they are getting into. It's not just about IIM. You are coming to an institute which is under the Act of Parliament, Institute of National Importance. And more than that, we are a 60-year young institute having a strong legacy of working with the engineering and management interface.
Thanks, and noted, sir. And just this last one question from JS Walia. And he's asked whether the online would be written on the certification. This is not an online course, this is at the best hybrid. But if you could also clarify that, whether the mode of learning would also be written on the certificate or
not. In terms of this degree, right? We will not say it's an online, because we are going to have that. And that's why this question keeps, everybody keeps asking, is that compulsory? Yes, we want you to be there on the campus. We also want to have you understand the rigor of attending the courses in person. We want you to see what is that which we are offering you as a flexibility. Please understand, I would not like to offer these courses as blended mode, but it is only for the benefit of professionals like you. We are trying to bring it in a form of a blended mode. Okay, please understand, we are also having a lot of concerns. We just don't want you to, and that's why we are repeatedly telling, we are not going to give you the recorded sessions. The rigor will be built when it is a continuous one. The rigor and the approach will be to ensure that you actively engage in the learning process. Okay, so there's no question of writing anything online on the certification. I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely, sir, it does. It does. Right, sir. I think that brings us to the end of the webinar. We planned it for about an hour, max hour and a half. All of you have given us approximately 2 hours. Thank you for your time, and I'm sure it's very beneficial to all the audience. We also have this recorded. We will put it on YouTube, and people who have missed this session will be able to see the recorded version as well. I mean, I've done my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, and one of the things which I have learned doing such a course from a reputed institute is that more than anything else, it's the reputation of the institute which is online. It's all the students who pass out, they are the brand ambassadors of that particular institute. So, I mean, that's the reason, we spend about sleepless nights. I have studied for 16 hours for the first 3 to 6 months. And we've gone through the entire curriculum, and it's just amazing. At that time, we feel a lot under pressure, but really that helps in the life later on. And right, sir. Thanks to all the participants who have come and who have stayed with us for this much of time. Before closing, one final words from you, Captain Bhasin and Professor Khanapuri, and then we'll sign out, please.
I would like to convey my sincere thanks, and especially to the questions which were wholeheartedly given in a very free manner. And thanks to Captain Khanapuri, Captain Halbek, Mr. Rajiv, and Captain Kapoor, and Gaurav yourself, that answering them on the spot. But it generated some of the things even I learned today. Objective, subjective, and all that thing. But some minor points. We have been talking about this course for more than a year now. We have reached a lot of hurdles were overcome in this for the industry, for the participants here. It is one of the kind. I reach out to everybody. Please do not miss the chance. It is a very, very good course for career enhancement, for your own career growth. And India is a rising, looking into logistics and supply chain. So that's why my take is, and we are joining hands and going into a very, very premier institute of India. Thank you. Professor Khanapuri sir, all yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Gaurav has very nicely handled all these questions. Let me put it like this, just one line, what great Swami Vivekananda said, and Professor Vivekananda repeats it. Learning is a continuous process, and you have got no age, no this one for learning. And that's what we are giving you an opportunity. The day you cease to learn, you cease to exist. So wishing you all the best and look forward to having you on board at IIM Mumbai. Best wishes. Namaskar.
Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Very grateful to be given a chance to host such kind of a session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, sir.